Welcome to Cool Chat Gaming. My name's Leo, and I'm going to tell you my story about how Monster Hunter Wilds changed my life. We're going to start from the beginning, move our way through there, just so you can get to know me a little bit better, and we can take it step by step from there. So yeah, let's glance all the way back. So, I'm a fiver. I come from Monster Hunter World. I was never introduced to the game at any point in my life up until Monster Hunter World somehow slid straight into my path by accident. Me and a good couple of my friends are all JRPG gamers. We've been around every possible console for the past 20 years, and we just somehow never found Monster Hunter until they did a great job at marketing it, and it stumbled right into our path. And then we became serious monster hunters overnight. It's a genreless game. It blew our minds. Coming up against Teostra and Nergigante and farming all through the weapons in the base game and being able to truly customize your character and your playstyle was an absolute joy to behold. So we fell in love and we loved it every step from there. And then came Rise and the same experience happened. It was a bit more cartoon-esque and a little bit more not as realistic. Not that Monster Hunter is realistic, but you get the vibes. And then the journey carried on, and we played it across multiple platforms. And Iceborne came along, and we was introduced to Master Rank and the Arc-tempered monsters, and we spent hundreds and hundreds of hours refining our craft and trying to become the best possible monster hunters that we could. And then the years went by. I moved up in a corporate role. I got into a more serious job and had a child and got married, and as we all do and life ultimately gets to us, we grew up and we became adults with serious jobs and bills and responsibilities. And then from there, Monster Hunter kind of drifted into the wind. I was working long hours and still am. I was doing weekends and bank holidays and everything possible to try and support my family, and gaming was kind of almost left to one side just due to the nature of being an adult. But then Monster Hunter Wilds came along, and I remember the first trailer. Our group chat was on fire. We couldn't believe it. It's almost like we travelled back in time. And then we shared that journey and was in Discord together and went back on Monster Hunter World for a bit and refreshed our hunting skills, and couldn't believe that we was going to have another shot at this. And we then decided to plan our life around it. So we waited and we plotted and we booked annual leave all in our separate jobs, and we all made sure that we had a window of time to take away from our real lives, for want of a better phrase, and play some Monster Hunter in the middle of the night with the lads and have the best experience possible. And that's what we did. So fast forward to February the 28th, out comes Monster Hunter Wilds, and every one of us had completed our duties and finished our jobs and sorted the kids out and logged on the evening, and it was almost like we went into a time capsule back to being young again. Everything else became a distant memory. We was locked into the hunt, whether the primal instinct of being a hunter and being a hunter forager was kicking in there, but we was absolutely lost in the idea of just hunting. The story was good, it was better, it wasn't groundbreaking, but it was good. And the hunt was great, the graphics were brilliant, but what it has, which what all Monster Hunters have, what a lot of games don't have, is it creates moments. Those, the ones, the moments where you hit that offset attack at the perfect time in a really, really tight scenario, and that monster stumbles backwards cinematically, and you get to close the gap and output more DPS, and it's a real focus state unlocking kind of game. It allows you to become so immersed that you can lose yourself a little bit in the hunt, and everything else just becomes tunnel vision. You are locked in, it's you versus that monster. And so thoroughly enjoyed my time. Got back into what I normally do with most games like this. I start to refine builds and put together multiple weapons and study the changes that they've made to the weapons, and really try to become as much optimized as I can and become the best hunter possible. And that's what we did, and we did it for nearly 2 weeks. We spent every night, every possible hour we could get away from our real life responsibilities, hunting monsters, and it was a breath of fresh air. I'm a husband and a father, and have a very serious corporate role in a big business. And all of that disappeared for a moment. I love my wife to pieces. I'm about to have another child. I'm about to have my second child, but it was nice to feel a lot like me again and not really have to be putting into a role and putting on a face or being the best possible thing I can at a job, but not thoroughly enjoying what I do. Monster Hunter gave me a taste of that without me truly realising. But then we made it to the end of the annual leave and we'd found every monster possible. I was at a hunter rank 150 and I was like, right, this is brilliant. I've loved every minute of it, but real life calls. So I went back to work. First day, sit down, open my laptop, greet the team, say hello to everybody, talk about how good the game was and how much I've enjoyed my time. And a lot of people didn't really understand why I would possibly take time off as a grown adult to play a game, but for those who don't understand, don't understand. For everybody watching this video, I wouldn't have to explain it to you. That's the reason why you're watching one of these videos. But yeah, I sat there about 9:30 in the morning. I read my emails, caught up with everything that I'd missed, had a meeting in regards to any changes that was coming into play, and the clock seemed to slow down by about 300%. I was looking across and watching everybody in the role and being back where I'd always been for thousands of hours before in my usual position on my laptop, and the day was the longest day I could possibly fathom. My brain was lost in a fog of, is this what I do for a living? Is this who I am? And I kind of had been so detached from it for the first time in many, many years that it was almost difficult to slot back into my usual position and be like, can't be everything. So I started to think about endgame. I started to think, okay, so if you're not happy right now when you're taking a snapshot of where you are, what would you do? Would you leave? Would you go and get another similar role in another business somewhere else and start from scratch and build relationships and move into the next step? And then ultimately, you know that you would end up in the same position, whether that takes 12 months, 18 months, 3 years. There would come a day when I would sit back down at my desk, looking across the business that I'm in and think, is this what I'm meant to do? Is this who I'm meant to be? Should I leave? Should I go and join somewhere else and see if I feel better when I'm there? And yeah, ultimately, we didn't want to do that. So the end game plan kicked in, which is a little subconscious voice in the back of my brain said to me, okay, so if you're not going to do any of this, what would you like to do? And then 16-year-old me flashed into my brain very quickly in that moment and said, you should create content. Content creation is what you always wanted to do. You just bypassed it and life got in the way and bills got in the way and everything kind of really stuck itself in my face of you've got to get this stuff done and you can't just create content. Plus I didn't have the money to buy the equipment that I needed and couldn't really get any time to do any of it because I was too busy being a young early 20s man who was trying to move his way up the corporate ladder. So we did, and I sat down after my first week at work and was like, that's it, I've had enough, we're going to make a choice. And I put out the first video, which you can see on the channel, which is just over a month ago now. I was panicking, I was freaking out, it was poor quality, and I'm still got a hell of a lot of things to learn, but we made the jump. Monster Hunter Wilds really did change my life, because what it allows me to do now is put out content, even if it's not the best right now, but with the reception I've received and the feedback I've had from everybody so far who has watched the channel and become a subscriber and hitting over 100 subscribers in under a month, and has really been an over-exaggerating time, but I don't feel tired anymore. I can stay up till 2:30 in the morning and wake up in the morning the next day ready for work and not feel like I've done anything extra than been asleep. It's been an absolute dream to come this far, and it's like I have two jobs now. I've finished my actual role at work on the normal day-to-day basis, and then once I've done my duties at home and spent time with my wife and sorted my son out and made sure that he's happy and we've eaten tea together and got him in bed, and I turn on the computer and open Monster Hunter Wilds and keep refining and keep testing builds for you guys. And it's been the most enjoyment that I've had out of any possible thing or role or job that I've done in the past 15 years. Time disappears when I'm doing it. I can lose 5-6 hours just editing and putting together clips and testing builds without even realising that time has passed. But this message is just out there for you to say that if Monster Hunter Wilds hadn't come into my life, I wouldn't have made the choices that I've made and feel the way that I feel today. I'm going to keep making content. I'm going to strive to do better and be a better editor and be a better build maker and be an all-round better person and put content out for the community to hopefully, by some magic, if possible, could I achieve a review code for the DLC next year. If I can establish a channel in a good enough position and provide enough quality content and give enough people a good experience with my videos, that if I could get a review code from Capcom next year for whatever the DLC for this game would be, and have it just a little bit earlier and be able to build a community and really output my true honest opinion of what I believe this next generation of Monster Hunter is becoming, it would be in the absolute world with me. But the journey has begun. I thank you to absolutely everybody who has joined the experience so far. I love you all to bits. It's been an absolutely brilliant experience. If there's anything I can do to ever do better, be a better content creator for you, anything that I've missed, feel free to pop it in any of the comments box. I will absolutely take on board any feedback you have whatsoever and try and implement it. And we will see where this journey takes us. But this is it. We're going to go for it. Foot to the floor, pedal to the metal. Doesn't matter if it takes me 5 years. I would like to do this for the rest of my life. And I'm willing to put the work in. But I would like the support from any of you guys and any feedback, even if it's not the best and there's audio problems and there's visual problems and the problems with the build where you think that I've missed something that's fundamental. I would love to know. I would like to do this with you as well as for you. But yeah, anything you need, pop it in the comments. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for everybody so far. Let's see if we can possibly get to 500 subscribers. But leave a like and subscribe. You know the vibes. Peace.